I saw this interesting Cryogonal take on JoeUX9's second place Louisville Regionals team, and it was able to do pretty well on the stadium ladder. So I was wondering, how well can Cryogonal do? Because a lot of the tools that it has make sense for this team. Let's try it out and see how well it can perform. This is a Cryogonal Garchomp team that features the Sun mode. Let's break it down. So we have the Sun mode up first, which is very similar again to the team that JoeUX9 ended up using to get second place at the Louisville Regional Championship. And we have the Eject Pack Torkoal with that Tera Flying as the defensive typing, and this one able to be a defensive Pokemon but also do a good amount of damage in the Sun, setting up that Sun specifically for that Hisuian Typhlosion. Overheat with that Eject Pack so it can pivot out and set up the Sun later and just get into Typhlosion for free, just because of how slow a Pokemon that Torkoal is. Burning Jealousy can help out against like Sword Stance, Kingambit, and a lot of other setups like Dondozo. You have Helping Hand to boost up the power of your other offensive Pokemon. And yeah, it's just able to do a good amount of damage, setting up the Sun and then pivoting out. Next, we had the Jumpluff with the Chlorophyll and the Cover Cloak to prevent fake outs. The Terra Dark was an interesting choice on the Jumpluff, but to help out against like Encore and Taunt Whimsicott, which I think is a very big one. You do have the Leaf Storm as a grass type attack that's just able to do damage. You have the Sleep Powder, of course. You have the Tailwind for the speed advantage, and Encore is just a really good move, being able to lock in opponents into unfavorable moves. We next have the Choice Specs Typhlosion with the Terrifier, with the Blaze. It will do so much damage with the Eruption, Heat Wave, and Overheats, especially under the Sun, with that Jumpluff helping to support it. And then Shadow Ball, of course, for another bit of coverage. Next, we had the Kingambit with the Assault Vest and the Defiant. We had the Tera Flying, which is just a really good defensive typing to help resist the fighting type attacks. And it just pairs well with the Earthquake Garchomp as well. The Assurance able to do a good amount of damage, especially with a follow-up, like if you went for a Leaf Storm with Jumpluff, an Earthquake with Garchomp, an attack with Cryogonal, or an attack with Typhlosion. That Assurance just gained a double base power, and just being able to really smack opponents with a very heavy Dark type attack is just really nice. The Iron Head to help out against the Fairy Pokemon, the Sucker Punch for the priority, and then Low Kick to help out against opposing Kingambit, Tyranitar, and more. Next, we have the Garchomp with that Rough Skin, a life for pretty standard Garchomp, Terra Steel, just a simple standard Garchomp that's just very fast, one of the greatest Pokemon in this format just because of its good speed tier, good bulk, and able to hit a lot of common Pokemon in the format, especially with the Steels being so dominant as they are. Really great pairing with the Kingambit, especially with that Kingambit helping with the Defiant boost to scare away Intimidates, and that Earthquake Assurance combo with that Tera Flying Kingambit is immaculate. Finally, we had the Cryogonal that was originally a Dragonite on Joe's team, and I thought this Cryogonal made a lot of sense because there were a few things that were still a little bit scary for this team. Dondozo still a little bit scary, and I felt like there was a lot of Pokemon that want to Tera on this team. So Dragonite's usually a Tera Hog, so if you're bringing it, very vulnerable, and that means you can't Tera your other Pokemon. So Cryogonal is a way you can play around the Tera Hog because you don't have to Tera the Cryogonal. This one's going to be the Tera Ice set, and with the Levitate being able to just be immune to the Earthquake from the Garchomp helps out against opposing Garchomp too, which is really nice because the thing is you actually have a Pokemon that can reliably outspeed Garchomp, and you can position Cryogonal, for instance, next to Typhlosion. You can go for an Icy Wind Eruption. It covers the Garchomp and will pick up the knockout, especially if you're under the Sun. So I think there's a lot of implications here. What's also really cool is you do have that Icy Wind combination that you could follow up with your Garchomp and the Kingambit as well. So that Icy Wind, for instance, could force Dragonite to Tera, and like if it's a Tera Steel variant, you can actually hit it with an Earthquake, which is pretty cool. The Icy Wind for Assurance and allow Kingambit to outspeed, which is really unique. The Freeze Dry is also great to help out against the water types that might be the Tera Water, which can be very solid, and the Haze to help out against Dondozo, against Intimidate, and more. I just think there's a lot of options that this Cryogonal has, and it has pretty decent stats across the board, other than 95 special attack isn't the best, but it's definitely usable, and then its physical defense not really existent. That's why it has the Focus Sash, but otherwise pretty solid mon overall. And it just pairs really well with the combination of Speed Control as a secondary option for the Typhlosion, the Kingambit with the Icy Wind follow-ups, and then the Garchomp is just a really good pairing because you can actually Earthquake next to the Garchomp, and again, you don't have a Tera Hog like the Dragonite. If you would like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. I don't know why they keep giving me rank 10 Ultra Ball players when I'm in Master Ball. Like, I don't get the matchmaking system of this game sometimes, but all right. This is a matchup I think Cryogonal really gets to shine in. They have Male Entity, Sneasler, the Archaludon, Pelipper, Basculegion, and Sinistra. My Sun mode is fantastic. My Brain King Gambit, I guess, is a question. I definitely want to go with Cryogonal and Garchomp. It's really strong against like a majority of their team. I think it's really strong here, so I will bring it. I do need Torkoal because getting rid of that Weather, like, it changes a lot here. And then last Pokemon, I don't know if I'm actually bringing Typhlosion or if I'm bringing the King Gambit. Because both are really good mons here. Like, Typhlosion really lets the damage output, but King Gambit is probably safer in switching in attacks. I think I like the Typhlosion a bit better, because I like the offensive power more. There is stuff I have to watch out though. Wide Guard is a factor on the Pelipper that I have to fear. So let's see what we can do. But I think Cryogonal with Torkoal Sun to help mitigate the damage is really nice. Garchomp is really good, especially if they lead like Sneasler plus Male Entity, which isn't really weather related. So it is very likely that they would lead this combination. As long as this isn't, well, are you Scarf Male Entity is going to be a good question. Are you Scarf Male Entity? If you're Scarf Male Entity, this is actually kind of a rough position. Are you Scarf Male Entity? Kind of have to risk it, right? I think we just risk it. We're gonna go for Icy Wind and Earthquake. Sneasler protects. Okay. What's the sneeze? What's the Male Entity? It isn't Scarf, so if I hit the Icy Wind, as long as it isn't bulky for some reason, I should be able to KO. Icy Wind going to be launched out into the Entity, and with the Earthquake should pick up the knockout. Okay, that's a great start. All right. I did risk a bit, but like I felt like if there was going to be a Sash user on the team, I think Male Entity makes a bit more sense than Pelipper, especially with Sinistra. Because usually on the Sinistra teams, the Pelipper runs either Life Orb, Safety Goggles, usually, but looks like I'm right here. Okay. A gamble, but I did have to take the gamble since I don't know the sets here. And I think Choice Scarf Male Entity is pretty rare. We're going to see Pelipper come in. Okay. Did I double up that slot or did I just double up the Sneasler with Freeze Dry Stomping Tantrum? I kind of like the idea of doubling the Pelipper realistically, because if I get rid of the Pelipper, I'm in a great spot. Yeah, because the Sneasler can only go for single target attacks. I think it's worth the risk. I'm going to go for it. Looks like no protects all across the board. I am going to see a close combat come out of Cryogonal, but Cryogonal is holding that Focus Sash after all. All right, the drops. Freeze Dry going to come out into the Pelipper. Are you Focus Sash? You're not Focus Sash. Wait. Oh, yeah, because there's a Male Entity. Actually, no, I should have targeted Sneasler, because if they were not... Because like Male Entity has less items they would run. Usually it is going to be Choice Spec, Scarf, or Focus Sash. So yeah, that actually makes sense. But ends up working out because like there was an easy tap on the Sneasler. It was just worth for me going into the Pelipper anyway, because if I go for the attack in the Sneasler and they protect Pelipper, they do lose. So it's kind of a mind game call there, and they went on the offensive and it just worked out. So now they just guarantee lose because I do have the Typhlosion next to Torkoal that just wins the game. I guess I'll go for Freeze Dry into Stomp, actually. No, I should just Protect and Stomping. Yeah. Just don't give them the defense boost. There's no reason to give them a defense boost. Oh, like super quick. But Cryogonal, Garchomp, swept. Dusclops, Incineroar, King Gambits, the Corviknight, the Grimmsnarl, and Primarina. Okay, very, very, very defensive team. Very slow. I mean, King Gambit, Torkoal plus Typhlosion's really good here. Yeah, I like Typhlosion plus the Oracle a lot here. In the back, I like the King Gambit. King Gambit's pretty good against my opponent's team. And then I don't really need Jump Up Sleep Powder, I think. But Encore is decent. Although they get Trick Room up, it doesn't matter. Garchomp helps a bit. But I do kind of like Cryogonal Haze. Because if it's like Tera on the Corviknight, then I would like to have Haze if they try to set up. Because their team doesn't really do that much damage immediately. Although I am bringing pretty frail tools in the Typhlosion, which could be a bit of an issue. Let's see. If they lead the Incineroar, it works out. But Primarina and the Grimmsnarl. Okay. So I don't think this is bad at all for me. I should just be able to get in my King Gambit. And I'm going to go for Overheat into Grimmsnarl. I want to keep King Gambit or Typhlosion healthy. So I'm just going to switch in King Gambit on. This should be a Light Screen plus Hyper Voice here, and that's fine. If they get the boost with their Primarina, I'll go for Haze with my Cryogonal, so the Moonblast doesn't do nearly as much. Light Screen going to come out. Overheat for the damage, as Hyper Voice does a decent chunk. All right, Overheat into the Grimmsnarl. Pretty good damage. Okay. So that should be an Iron Head range. I think I can double up the Primarina with Freeze Dry plus Iron Head. And then that might allow me to get a double knockout pin the next turn with Iron Head Freeze Dry if they don't Tera the following turn. So I'm going to go for a Freeze Dry into the Primarina. And I'm also going to go for the Iron Head into Primarina as well. Let's just get as much damage into Primarina as possible. Losing Focus Sash isn't that bad here. Like, the Primarina is not even two-shotting Cryogonal unless they Moonblast. Oh, they go for Taunt with the Grimmsnarl, which is interesting. So no Reflect on this Primarina is actually kind of massive here. As this Freeze Dry is going to come out into the Primarina. That is very little damage. Is that Assault Vest? I think so. Iron Head does a ton of damage though to Primarina as they go for Hyper Voice. Sure. I don't know why they Hyper Voice there, but okay. I have a few plays. I can go out into my Typhlosion potentially for the Eruption. I don't think I really need it. I think I'm just going to go for a Freeze Dry. I'm going to target down at the... Do I just Freeze Dry Iron Head? Nah, actually, let's go for a Freeze Dry into Primarina. And Iron Head to Primarina. Grimmsnarl's not threatening anything. They're going to retreat to Primarina. I thought about clicking Assurance Cover, but I didn't actually think they would switch out. A Corviknight coming in. Interesting. Okay. It should be fine. I am able to get a Freeze Dry off. Do they not have Reflect with the Grimmsnarl? They have just refused to click Reflect. Iron Head actually does do a decent chunk to Corviknight still. Rocky Helmet. Okay. Outplay into King Gambit. Sure. Is it Incineroar as the last? I can't tell at this point. My King Gambit should be faster than Corviknight at the least. I should always be able to get the Iron Head knockout. I think I'm just going to get more damage into Corviknight with Freeze Dry, and I'm just going to go for an Iron Head into the King Gambit slot, or into the Grimmsnarl slot. They retreat the Grimmsnarl. Incineroar revealed. So I like getting damage in Incineroar, which is actually pretty big. Like, Iron Head is still pretty decent chunking it, and that's going to be important for Typhlosion Eruption. So here comes a Freeze Dry into the Corviknight. We get a crit. I don't think it should really matter in the long term. They body press. They're faster, actually, than my King Gambit. Okay. So King Gambit goes down. We shake up the taunt, but it shouldn't matter too much. We can go out on a Typhlosion, and we're going to go straight for the damage. They have a pretty weak team right now, so I think this is actually pretty good. Because I can go for a Freeze Dry into the Incineroar, and I can just go for the Terrifier Eruption and Sun. Unless they fake out the... Unless they fake out here, I think we're in a pretty dang good spot. Because I just put on a lot of offensive pressure with Heat Wave or Eruption plus the Freeze Dry. They don't have a switch here. And the Corviknight's low, so it can't Tera and survive this attack. So we'll go for the Terrifier. Trying to get as much damage as possible into that Incineroar. They probably went for knockoff. So Terrifier to also help us survive the attack. Freeze Dry gets a bit of chip into the Incineroar slot. Here comes Eruption. Good chunk into Incineroar. We get a good amount of damage into Corviknight as well. Nice. And they go for Flare Blitz into Cryogonal, actually. Wow. I don't mind this. It depends on the rest, but Incineroar took Recoil, which is really massive here. Sunlight Fade's at the perfect timing because now I get Torkoal back in. I'm pretty sure I just click Helping Hand Eruption. And unless there's some cheese moves out there, I think I'm good. I guess their best maneuver here. Oh, they didn't go for the best maneuver. Unless they don't have it. It might be a Solvest Primarina after all. I thought their best maneuver, if they had Primarina and if the Grimmsnarl says like what I'm calcing it to be, I thought they were going to go for Primarina, Protect, swap out, sack Grim, so they have Fake Out Hyper Voice on deck. I guess they don't have that option. Grim moveset is still a wild card, so it heavily depends on the Grim set, but we go for Helping Hand Eruption here because we'll pick up some... We'll pick up a double knockout if there's not anything crazy here. We saw that it was Light Screen on the Grimmsnarl. We saw that it had Taunt. We don't know the rest of the moves. Oh, that's perfect. They went for Taunt and Torkoal. Yeah, I do not think they can win the game because this is Eruption. Just sweeps the Incineroar as well as the Grimmsnarl. Goodbye, Grimmsnarl. Goodbye, Incineroar. And that is game. I don't know if they had Protect on Primarina. I feel like it might be a Solvest. It took Freeze Dry super well. I know Cryogonal doesn't have the best attack stat in the world, but that was taken way too well, even under Light Screen. I know Primarina has good speed depth, but I still think that was just insane how little it was doing that I think it had to be a Solvest. Or just have a lot of speed depth investment. It could be just a lot of speed depth investment. Primarina going to come back in, but at this point, Typhlosion is in. So we can go for a... Well, we can't go for Helping Hand. We can go for an Overheat into the Primarina, but a single target Eruption in Sun should pick up the knockout. I don't think a Solvest Primarina takes this. It does not. Okay. And they would have probably needed double Hyper Voice. I don't even know if Hyper Voice crit KOs Hisuian Typhlosion under the Sun. I don't think it does. And if it... Yeah, I don't think it does. Like, as long as I was... Even if Primarina hanged on barely, I still would have probably got a follow-up attack. But, yeah. Just getting a good amount of damage. Again, signing up for that Eruption plan was pretty much my goal there. And I was able to. The fact that they Flare Blitzed the Cryogonal was really the downfall of them. Annihilate Primarina, Incineroar, Volcarona, Amoonguss, and Kilowattrel. Interesting team. I want to go to Sun Mode here. Sun Mode's not bad. I don't think I need it per se. Yeah, I don't need it. I think Cryogonal and Garchomp are both really good too against this because Icy Wind Earthquake gets a lot of coverage against the team. Freeze Dry Earthquake also gets a lot of KOs probably in this matchup. The Typhlosion I think I still want to bring because it's good. I could go with the Sun Mode. The Sun Mode isn't bad here, but they're probably going to bring their Sun answers, right? Which is probably Incineroar. They probably bring the Volcarona. I don't know if they bring Kilowattrel. Probably. I think I'm just going to go Cryogonal Garchomp. I think it's like such a strong combination. I really do. Especially like against Incineroar lead. I still do a ton of damage. Kingambit in the back, I think. And then Typhlosion as the last. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't really feel like I need to rely on the weather in this matchup. I also don't think I have to rely on Jump Love Tailwind match because I think I'll have a pretty decent speed advantage against this team, but we'll see. I like the idea of just going straight for the power. We're going to see the lead of the Annihilate and Kilowattrel. Okay. Against Garchomp and Cryogonal. If they have Bulk Up, it's okay because I do have Haze, so... I'm going to go for Freeze Dry into the... I'm just going to double up the Kilowattrel. Get rid of it immediately. I think that mod's actually kind of annoying. So we'll go for the double up into the Kilowattrel. I don't know if this is Choice Scarf. Oh, they go for Air Slash into Garchomp instead. Okay. If we don't get a flinch here, I'm in a really good spot. Kilowattrel going to be brought down to a Focus Sash. No Tailwind would be really nice in this matchup too. That means I don't have to play as defensive. Nice. We do get a Dragon Claw off into the Kilowattrel. Kilowattrel goes down. That's a great start for me. I'll definitely take it. What is Annihilate going for? Annihilate going to go for the bulk up, which I am completely okay with because, again, the Cryogonal Haze is going to be super big here for being able to get rid of the boost. Like if they go Incineroar for like an Intimidate, that's actually still fine by me because I can go for the Haze the next turn, get rid of that drop, and yep, that's what's gonna happen here. All right, perfect. I'm definitely going to go for double protect. I don't care if they go for Haze again. The only way that this goes bad, I think, is if they start setting up their Annihilate with the Rage Fist boost. But yeah, we go for protect with Cryogonal, we go for protect with Garchomp. Just simply stalling out this fake out here from the Incineroar as fake out going to come out into the Cryogonal. Okay. Is this bulk up again? Nice. So we basically have made them waste 2 turns, which is incredible because now we can go for the Haze with Cryogonal, get rid of those boosts, and we can go for the Earthquake. And because of the we might be able to knock out Incineroar depending on the Incineroar spread, but Haze gets rid of all the boosts. The Intimidate drop on the Garchomp, incredible. Here comes the Earthquake. This is going to do some massive damage to both Pokemon, and that is a fantastic bring here. We do so much damage here. Not knockouts, but still pretty good, as we're going to see Drain Punch going to come out into Cryogonal, which is going to get them the recovery back. But Cryogonal is still around. What are they doing with the Incineroar? Incineroar being weakened so nice for Typhlosion too. A U-turn. Okay, it's a Assault Vest probably then on the Incineroar. Good to know. The Cryogonal goes down and they get to bring out their last Pokemon, but I get to see who they have in the back. And this might be actually pretty important for like Typhlosion plus Garchomp coming in. Me clicking Eruption and doing a ton of damage. Because we're going to see Amoonguss. Okay, yeah, perfect. Perfect. I'm going out into Typhlosion. And I just don't see a reason why I don't click Eruption here. And gotta watch out because, well, the Ape is only +1 Rage Fist boost, so it's only 100 base power Rage Fist. It is gonna KO my Typhlosion and my Garchomp at this range. I'm trying to figure out if I'm expecting Tera from the Amoonguss or if I'm expecting Tera from the Annihilate. Because both make sense here. Because I can double up Annihilate with Stomping Tantrum, but I could also double up the Amoonguss. I could see Protect Tera Water Spore. I could see Tera the Annihilate and attack. Let me see. I think one of these is forced to Tera though. I just don't know who's Terraing. I think it's more likely Amoonguss than Annihilate, but let's see. Yeah, it's Amoonguss. I think this is Protect, so I got this play wrong. It's not awful, but obviously not as ideal as I would have wanted it to be. Yeah, I got the play wrong. That's fine. It's not the best, but I don't think this is the worst either as we go for the Stomping Tantrum into the Annihilate. It should be always Spore into the Typhlosion, and at least I get some pretty big damage into Amoonguss to where Earthquake Assurance should pick up the knockout afterwards, so that's okay. As I go for the Spore, yep, into the Typhlosion. I think I'm going to go out into King Gambit on this slot and go for Protect with the Garchomp. The only way this goes wrong is if they go for Rage Fist Spore combination of King Gambit, which would be pretty bad potentially, but I don't know if they risk taking so much damage on their Annihilate that way and leaving the Garchomp alone. So we'll find out what they decide to go for. But I'm really hoping what the play here is from them is to go for the Spore and the Garchomp and a Rage Fist into the King Gambit slot. I don't think they're ever Drain Punching that slot at least. But I want to go for Tera Flying Assurance double ups. And I think that's going to be really important. So we bring out the King Gambit. We're going to see Amoonguss actually retreat into Incineroar, which is actually kind of funny. Yeah, this is going to be Incineroar. Okay. That's pretty good for my King Gambit. All right. As we get the Defiant boost and Garchomp going to be intimidated, but that's all right. Garchomp going to protect. They did go for the Rage Fist and the Typhlosion, so this actually worked out. Okay. Yeah, King Gambit absolutely takes that with ease. Okay, now what are you gonna do here? You're probably faking out the King Gambit, and I would say you take the knockdown and Garchomp with Rage Fist. Maybe you Drain Punch, but I think you go for Rage Fist here. I like the idea of just going for the Tera Flying. Gonna go for the Tera Flying Iron Head into the Annihilate, and I'm gonna go for Iron Head into the Annihilate. But I think this is fake out in a King Gambit. I think you always Rage Fist unless you want to Drain Punch, but you could. I don't know if you would. We'll see. Gonna go for the Tera with the King Gambit. Gonna go into my Tera Flying. I want to position this correctly for my Garchomp to do well. Let's find out. This is fake out. Oh, they targeted the Typhlosion, which is not what I expected. Did they Drain Punch? They did Drain Punch. Wow, I was not expecting that. That actually works out huge for me. Yeah, that works out huge for me because I will be able to get a Iron Head off into the that's huge amounts of damage. Yeah. I think they messed up now because I think I always get a Sucker Punch into the Annihilate, and I think I get to go Garchomp. I could also Sucker Punch the Incineroar if I want to read that. Does Annihilate attack here ever? I feel like the answer is no. I really want to Sucker Punch and go out into Garchomp. You know what? I am going to go for it. Because Garchomp does threaten to knock out into Annihilate with the Earthquake anyway. And I think Incineroar always attacks here. Yeah, they switch out the Annihilate into Amoonguss, which is also another thing I expected. Like, I was expecting Protector switch out. Maybe a Bulk Up, but that is risky. So Amoonguss comes in, but I think I win the game here. Yep, because I Sucker Punched the Incineroar. I didn't Parting Shot, which it was really hard to punish on that position. Incineroar goes down. And now because I'm +1 with King Gambit, I can go for Earthquake plus Assurance into the Amoonguss. The Earthquake knocks out the Annihilate, but the range it's at. And I will be able to get the Assurance double power at +1 into Amoonguss. That's going to pick up the knockouts. So really, really nice. I felt like it did get a little bit tricky, but I did find the ways to maneuver here. And yeah, we can go for Earthquake and Assurance. Double up into the Amoonguss. Battle's going to be forfeited. Awesome. Oh, that's so good. That was so good. Okay, awesome. Lead wise was great. The fact that I was able to get that haze off and get that massive damage was incredible there, because we saw that I was able to do a lot to the Annihilate, a lot into the Incineroar, and then getting that one turn read right was epic. Dugong, Flamigo, the Gothitelle, Gengar, Incineroar, and Rillaboom. It's actually funny because I've played this player before in a episode, which I don't know if it's going to be released before or after this, but it does look like Perish, and I think it does have Perish, but I remember the Rillaboom being Terra Ground, Life Orb, High Horsepower. Which realistically is fine for this. The problem is that Flamigo is... Let's see. Flamigo does have access to Wide Guard. I gotta watch out. King Gambit's good. I think it's Typhlosion lead always. Typhlosion lead with Torkoal seems pretty strong because I actually have Overheat with Eject Pack, so I can play around Perish if they do have Perish. I think King Gambit's pretty good. And you know what? I will bring my Cryogonal in this matchup because it does actually hit quite a few Pokemon in this that I think it can be worth. The only thing is I didn't bring the best Incineroar answer, which granted, but you know what? We are trying to bring Cryogonal to this, and I don't think it's that bad of a bring here. We are going to see Incineroar Rillaboom be brought. Okay. Versus Typhlosion and a Torkoal. Now, pretty sure that this is a very safe Eruption for me, plus Eruption is just really good here. And I guess the problem is I am gonna get Eject Packed out with how the Eject Pack works. So Drought is active. We are going to be able to get a swap here. I want to go in a King Gambit. I think I just go into King Gambit. Yeah, I think this is probably okay. I'm going to go for King Gambit. I'm just going to fire off the Eruption. And I am just going to go for a low kick into the Incineroar. Because they don't exactly have the best response to the Typhlosion immediately off the bat. I think Eruption's pretty strong, plus a low kick into Incineroar. And they have to respect the Typhlosion. If they don't respect the Typhlosion, they lose the game. So I think they have to either protect Rillaboom if they have Protect and go for a knockoff, which means I should get a big amount of damage to the Incineroar, which should be good. If they attack with Rillaboom, they just lose it. Yeah, they are just going to go for the Protect with the Rillaboom. I should be able to get an Eruption plus low kick knockout into Incineroar. So I don't mind trading this, even though like I could have sure swapped out the Typhlosion and kept it for later. I actually don't think this is that bad of a position. Assuming I KO the Incineroar with the low kick, which maybe I don't. Let's see how much damage we do. It's going to be kind of close. Knock out the Choice Specs, KO the Typhlosion, low kick. Barely missing the knockout. Okay. I don't think this is too bad, though. I should be able to go out into Cryogonal pretty safely. Pretty sure I should KO the Incineroar at that range, I would assume. I guess maybe Incineroar took that too well to where maybe I should respect... I know it's Life Orb on the... I know it's Life Orb on the Rillaboom. Freeze Dry probably doesn't knock out the Rillaboom. I think I go for Icy Wind and I'm going to go for Assurance with the Tera flying into the Incineroar slot. And I think this is pretty okay. Because Assurance, Icy Wind is a really strong combo that will do a lot. If the Incineroar retreats, that means they're going to give me a Defiant boost later on in the game, which is actually pretty big. Rillaboom, you have to respect my King Gambit because King Gambit threatens a lot here. I think you're going to threaten the high horsepower. We're going to see Rillaboom retreat, actually, which is actually incredible for me. Okay. That is what? Alpha Tail. Okay. Oh, double retreat. Okay, this actually works out pretty well for me. I'm assuming I get the Icy Wind Assurance combo into whatever comes in. A Dugong, that's still pretty good damage into the Dugong. What was the Gothitelle set? I remember the Gothitelle having Rain Dance for some reason. I do remember the Gothitelle having Rain Dance. If I need to hit this Icy Wind and Dugong. I don't have to hit the Gothitelle because I need the Icy Wind so the Assurance is powered up. Okay, we get the Icy Wind off into the Dugong and the Gothitelle. Pretty good damage in the Gothitelle, actually. And we are able to get the Assurance. Oh, it's Covert Cloak on the Dugong. Wow, that did not do as much damage as I was hoping for onto the Dugong. All right, it's going to come down to quite a few things now. Because I am locked in with both. I guess we're going to Freeze Dry the Dugong and we're going to go for the Iron Head into Dugong. Because I need damage in the Dugong. This is probably Fake Out plus Perish. All right. Big Fat being really hard to break through. Okay, they do go for Perish Song. Oh, there was a world I went for Icy Wind and Assurance into the Rillaboom slot too. I could have went for it. It might not have been a bad play either. Because if I did get that double up, it would have been huge. I'm going to go for Icy Wind and Assurance double up into the Dugong, which I don't think you double protect here. I'm like very confident what you do here is you go for a protect with the Gothitelle and you switch out into one of your fake out mons, which should be the Rillaboom or Incineroar. If I get the catch on either of those Pokemon, it's pretty big because then they're going to bring out for fake out afterward. I mean, this is still definitely a playable game. This is definitely still a playable game. I guess it depends on if the Dugong actually has an attack. Because Perish Song, if I get them to a 2v2 situation, it won't actually matter because Torkoal always wins the Perish Song game. We see a Tera come out. This might be Gothitelle. Oh, it's Dugong, actually. I went for Iron Head. Oh, I went for Iron Head into Dugong because I thought it was just going to be Protects. It did protect the Gothitelle. Okay. Icy Wind gonna come out. It's Covert Cloak on the Dugong though. Did they flip turn? Did they have flip turn? This might have been flip turn. It is flip turn into Cryogonal. I mean, it was kind of the same idea, right? But I guess they're they're bringing in Rillaboom. This is smart by them because they bring in Rillaboom. Yeah. So Incineroar's still around. Makes sense. Assurance. Oh wait, I thought I went for Ironhead. Did I not go for Ironhead? I guess I didn't. But it makes sense because they tried to avoid the Icy Wind into Assurance play into the Rillaboom, but they still got the fake out pressure. Smart of them. I guess I want to freeze dry the Rillaboom slot, and I want to go for a Ironhead into the Gothitelle. They go for fake out into King Gambit, so they are going to be losing the Rillaboom here. I mean, this isn't terrible. Because again, I don't know how they're winning the Perish Song endgame. So Rillaboom goes down. Gothitelle gets to do whatever. Light screen. Sunlight fades, which actually helps so I can reset it later. It has to be Dugong, right? If we go Incineroar, I think it's just weird. Because I think you need to go for the fake out into the King. This is weird for them because I don't know how they exactly position where I don't get a knockout with King Gambit the following turn. Because always, like, if Gothitelle stays in, it goes down to Perish Song. If it switches out, I catch the switch. So Dugong's coming in. I always just go for a freeze dry into the Gothitelle. I think freeze dry KOs the Incineroar, but if it doesn't, I do lose. So I am going to go for Ironhead into the Gothitelle and a freeze dry, and hope freeze dry picks up the KO and Incineroar. If the Incineroar lives to freeze dry, it's over because this is fake out from Dugong coming out into my King Gambit. So can Cryogonal have enough power? Let's see. They fake out my King Gambit. Yep. Freeze dry into Incineroar. Oh, that did nowhere near enough. Yeah, it's over. It's over. Perish Song is just gonna sweep me here. Okay. I don't think this was too bad of a matchup either. I think it was just the Icy Wind Assurance combo, which was the big one here. But yeah, I do guarantee lose now. If I was able to get the knockout into Incineroar freeze dry, but that's definitely a Assault Vest Incineroar, I'd say. Yeah, it's just... It was just the Incineroar with Assault Vest. Like, I felt like the combo of King Gambit did pretty well. Was it worth switching out to Typhlosion? I guess, like, if I predicted the Rillaboom Protect, then it was probably not worth the damage, I guess. So I guess maybe I should have switched out into Cryogonal that turn, but I would have been weak to Grassy Glide. Was it better to go Torkoal there and just low kick? Maybe, because then I could have went for Helping Hand low kick the following turn, and that would have been pretty big. Or I could have doubled the Torkoal out, but if I doubled the Torkoal out into Typhlosion, that's a high horsepower I could be risking, which I don't think is worth it either. I don't know, there's some strange implications, but I do think the game was winnable. I think I just had to target down the Gothitelle on the switch. They did a really nice pivot around. Dragonite, Incineroar, Sneasler with Garchomp, Alolan Ninetales, and Goldengo. Alright. It's a matchup that's interesting. I don't know if I could exactly sweep with the Typhlosion. Tailwind is nice. I don't need it though. Guaranteed. Garchomp's pretty good. Cryogonal's actually pretty solid. I think Typhlosion and King Gambit are incredible, especially King Gambit. Ever Flying King Gambit looks really strong in this matchup, so I could go with the Sun mode, but I don't think I need it per se. I don't think their team's in Aurora Veil setup team either. It's probably Choice Specs on Ninetales. So I like the idea of just leading Cryogonal plus the Garchomp immediately, I think. And then in the back, I like the Typhlosion and I like the King Gambit. I think this should be fine. It puts on a lot of pressure. other than against Ninetales, but I don't think you ever lead Ninetales against a Sun team. Like, I just don't see that happening. So the idea of just Icy Wind, really strong damage output with the Garchomp immediately, maybe force a Tera from the Dragonite because Icy Wind would do a lot of work against it. And yeah, we see like Sneasel or Dragonite, which is perfect. Okay. Against the Cryogonal and the Garchomp. Now, I can just go for a double protect. I don't have to worry about really anything too crazy here. At least I shouldn't have to deal with anything too crazy. Unless it's Tailwind Dragonite, maybe. If they go for coaching, I don't think it's that big of a deal. They also got to watch out about the ice moves. If they go for a Tera, that would be pretty nice, but we'll see. I would probably just go for an Icy Wind Earthquake the next turn. I think that's pretty good. It covers a lot. Okay, we do force a Tera immediately, which is actually really nice here. So let's see. Tera on the Dragonite. What Tera are you? Fairy? Steel. Ooh, that's really good for my Garchomp. Okay. But this could be coaching. If this is coaching, not the best. I would have preferred probably just going for Icy Wind plus a Earthquake. But let's see. I think if you're going for this play, it should be coaching, but we'll see. Go for double protect. No, they just go for fake out into the Garchomp, actually. Okay. And a Scale Shot. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Into Cryogonal. Nice. Now, I should be able to go for an Icy Wind into an Earthquake, and that would be really strong here. So I am just going to go for the Earthquake and the Icy Wind. The way that they can knock out Cryogonal is they could go for Extreme Speed Close Combat, but that's okay, because if they do, like Sneasel gets brought down to Focus Sash, Dragonite's in the Stomping Tantrum range, and King Gambit even in the back would seem really good here. So yeah, we are just going to go for Icy Wind Earthquake. We're going to see the coaching come out from the Sneasel, which is a-okay by me. Just hit your attacks, please, here. The Icy Wind's so crucial. Nice. We do land the Icy Wind, which is going to lower that speed on the Sneasel and the Dragonite. That's going to be important for matching the Scale Shot speed boost. So we do get the Earthquake off with that Life Orb. The Levitate on Cryogonal, preventing it from getting hit. Earthquake does pick up the knockout Caesar. A really good amount of damage to Dragonite is fantastic. So let's see what is going to be brought out next for the attack here. Scale Shot? Yep, into Cryogonal. So Cryogonal is going down, but it has done a really good job. We are going to see a critical hit into Cryogonal, sure. But yeah, this is looking really, really solid right now. Who would they bring out next? Sneasel's gone. They have their own Garchomp, I guess, which I don't really mind. I could go Typhlosion, or I could go King Gambit. I think I go King Gambit. I either go King Gambit or I go Typhlosion. Both aren't bad here. I think I go King Gambit. They go Garchomp. Okay. So I'm glad I didn't bring in the Typhlosion. This could get a bit weird still. But yeah, this is going to be a little bit weird. Yeah, speed-wise, it's awkward. I could Sucker Punch the Dragonite and go for a Dragon Claw into the Garchomp. But it's going to come down to some Garchomp speed ties. I don't want to tear the Garchomp because it would be really weird. I think my play is just to go for a Tera with my King Gambit. I think I go for Assurance in the Garchomp, and I think I go for Earthquake here. And the reason I think I go for this play... Because Garchomp should be Life Orb, right? Garchomp being Life Orb would take a lot of damage from the Assurance. And then if I get the Earthquake off too, I get the KO and the Garchomp with Earthquake and Assurance, which I think is really big. Dragonite protects. Did they go for Earthquake or did they go for Dragon Claw? They went for Earthquake. Okay, so I got a really good turn here. Perfect. I'm able to get the Assurance off into the Garchomp with the Earthquake double up. Oh, wait, that Garchomp wasn't a Life Orb. And I don't think it's Choice Band based on the damage. So that means it should be like a Clear Amulet or something. I get a crit, which doesn't matter because Assurance was picking up the knockout anyway. But I guess that means Dragon Claw wasn't picking up the knockout unless they went for Extreme Speed into my Garchomp. So that kind of works out. All right, Garchomp eliminated. What's the last? If it's Incineroar, maybe... Oh, Golden Go. Okay, I think we're fine. I think we're fine. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Earthquake should finish up this game. I guess I'm just gonna assure. Who do I assurance here? Let's see. Dragonite can be a concern still. I think I assurance the Dragonite and I go for Earthquake. If they go for Double Protect, I guess it's okay. They go for Extreme Speed instead to knock out the Garchomp. Okay, perfect. So Dragonite's gonna go down. I guess it depends on what the Golden Go locks into, but even then I should be okay. Make it rain, because like if it's Choice Scarf, that was the only way it was outspeeding my Typhlosion, right? Typhlosion should be able to clean up this endgame with a Overheat or Shadow Ball now. I think I always go for Shadow Ball here into the Golden Go. And I guess I just Sucker Punch in case it is Scarf on the Golden Go. Yeah, I think that's always the play. So we bring out the Typhlosion, we click Shadow Ball into the Golden Go. If this Golden Go isn't Choice Scarf, we just auto win. I'm pretty sure that Golden Go also just cannot knock out Typhlosion even with a crit. Make it rain from a Choice Scarf variant. So that was going to be forfeited as they do realize that. So nice. Their Garchomp still ended up being a bit weird, but it was just the nature of what I brought. But the partners were really good. The Cryogonal was super solid there. The Icy Wind threats, the Earthquake was a really strong combination, I think, against that team specifically, and it really paid off. Sneasler, Male Entity, Typhlosion, Hisui, Whimsicott with Alola Ninetales, and the Annihilate. This is gonna be a weird matchup here. And I mean weird because they have their own Typhlosion, which makes this matchup really strange. Yeah, I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know how this is actually gonna go. I think I always bring Cryogonal and Garchomp because Freeze Dry Earthquake is a really strong combination to most of the team. They lead Ninetales, it should be okay as well. I'm trying to think of how I position this in the back. Is it Jump Up Typhlosion or is it King Gambit Typhlosion? Annihilate was actually kind of rough. If they set up Sun, it's nice to bring the Jumpluff. I don't think I Tera my lead. I think it's very unlikely. In-game, it's good as into the Male Entity Sneasler. It's just bad into Annihilate. I'm a bit worried about Annihilate endgame, but let's see. Let's try it out. I think I go with King Gambit plus Typhlosion. Like, Jumpluff isn't bad here, but the problem is I just don't... I think there's, like, if they lead Whimsicott, the way it's going to get positioned is it's going to be a Tailwind attack. And if they do that, I go for the Freeze Dry Earthquake always. And then that means that I just... no Sun up, they get Tailwind up, and then Jumpluff gets up Tailwind, I think, against the offense. So Sneasler Entity is actually an interesting lead, and that works out for me. Okay. Oh, this is just going to come down to if it's Scarf Male Entity or not, isn't it? It's just going to come down to if it's Scarf Male Entity or not, isn't it? Do I think it's Scarf on this team? It's not Specs. It's probably Covert Cloak on the Would it be Covert Cloak on the Whims? I have to get this right because if I think it's Scarf on the Entity, I go King Gambit for the Garchomp slot most like. Do I go for it in the Garchomp slot? Because they would close combat Expanding Force, right? I would have to read on who they close combat and protect the other with... Protect who they're close combating and switch out correctly. I am just going to go for Double Protect though. Alright, we see a Tera coming out from Sneasler. I'm assuming if they're going to go for the Tera with Sneasler, this means it shouldn't be Scarf Male Entity, because then it means you're expecting an attack from the Garchomp potentially. So I'm thinking it's probably Focus Sash on the Entity. I can go for Icy Wind Earthquake, and I think that should be pretty safe. Rock Tomb into Cryogonal. An Expanding Force. Oh, that's really weird. That's Rock Tomb. Okay. Are they gonna Rock Tomb again? I think they either Rock Tomb or Dire Claw. I think I'm gonna go King Gambit then. Oh, jeez. And I think I Dragon Claw the Indeedee because I need to break the Sash. Yeah. Because I can't Earthquake because I don't have the Terra Flying available yet. If they go for the same play, this works out, but I have no clue if they will. Oh, they did. Okay, nice. So we are able to get a +2 on the King Gambit, which is nice. That's a great thing. I'm a bit worried about how like the Typhlosion endgame is going to come out too, if it is Typhlosion Whimsicott back, but we'll see. We do bring the Indeedee to Focus Sash, so it is Focus Sash, which is not too surprising here. And we're going to see the Expanding Force come out into my Garchomp, which should be able to tank one. Yep. And now we just go for our Tera. We're going to go for the Tera with the Iron Head, and we are going to go for the Stomping Tantrum. Yeah, Stomping Tantrum is always safe into the Indeedee. We could also protect the Garchomp, but I don't think that's worth... Yeah, I don't think it's worth, because if they do have Whimsicott, Typhlosion in the back, Garchomp's weakened, so it goes down anyway to any combination. Oh, actually, I could have Earthquake. There was no reason to go for a Stomping Tantrum now that I think about it. We're going to see Annihilate come in. All right. So I don't know if this is good or bad for me. I guess it just depends on who the Sneasler targets, but I'm +2 King Gambit. It is very, very threatening to their team. All right. Who's their last stand? So it's not Whimsicott with Typhlosion. They go for close combat into the Garchomp. Okay, so it didn't matter if I Earthquake that turn, but I should have Earthquaked always. Because since I was Terra Flying anyway, I might as well have went for it. Rough Skin activates. Iron Head is going to pick up the knockout on the Sneasler. Their Terra's gone. And the Annihilate has the final Gambit to take the trade knockout. The male Indeedee is down to Focus Sash. I think this is a pretty good position for me in the end game. I think I just always get to go out into my Cryogonal at this point. It's like, who are they bringing out? Alolan Ninetales. Okay. Do I think this is Choice Specs with Blizzard? I just don't think Annihilate can knock me out in one shot. I think the safe play is just to always Ice Iron Head the slot. Do I want to set up for a Eruption endgame? I could here. No, I don't think. No, I think I just Iron Head Protect, right? I do think I always Iron Head Protect here. If I get rid of a Ninetales, I think I auto win the game. I'm going to protect Cryogonal. We're going to Iron Head. There is a Blizzard. How much damage does this do? It's a Solvest King Gambit. I think we tank it. Okay. They aren't Scarf on. Did they crit me? Okay. Okay. Rock Slide. Why'd they crit? I can go into Typhlosion. Is this Solvest Annihilate? Oh, if it's a Solvest Annihilate, I lose. Because they crit me, man. But then again, I don't know if the crit put me in Rock Slide range. But I don't know. I don't think Annihilate can knock me out unless it's maybe Bandit or Life Orb. I'm going to go for Shadow Ball and Icy Wind. Because I think it's my only hope. I don't think Fire Move will help me here. Even if I get rid of the Ninetales, the Annihilate would be way too healthy, I think, in the end game. I also need as much power as I can into Annihilate. If the Annihilate is Protect, it's over. But okay, they go for Blizzard. I have no idea if that is Solvest Annihilate, but if Typhlosion unfalls and gets to KO, we have a chance. Well, that's the game we play sometimes. The reason I went for Icy Wind Shadow Ball is to go for the KO into Annihilate, get that speed drop guaranteed, and then Ninetales is slower, so my Cryogonal can move afterward. Like, I think the game, I think we had a really good chance of winning. Obviously, if we didn't get crit and then frozen, that Ninetales, if I was to, can I borrow that Ninetales for a tournament? Like, if I had that RNG, I'd be winning the event. That is Pokemon sometimes. I think I set it up pretty well, though. Like, the only mistake was me not going for Earthquake that one turn, but It didn't even matter anyway. The Iron Head was on point. Sure, did I Tera early? Yes. But I think like Tera is still correct. I think my Tard into Indeedee is also ideal because it put the Indeedee into Icy Wind range. I did have to hit Icy Winds, but I mean 95 accuracy is still pretty good, right? Dragapult, Male Indeedee, King Gambit, the Sneasler, Ursaluna, and Porygon 2. Alright, we have some threats. The Porygon 2 Ursaluna Tricker mode, the offensive mode with the Sneasler plus the Male Indeedee and Dragapult. Alright, how do I want to perform against this team? Because we do have quite a few options. I would probably like to do something with Torkoal and Jumpluff. I mean, this is just tough. Let's see. It's a bit tough because King Gambit's threatened by Sneasler, and King Gambit's really good against like the Dragapults and the Male Indeedee. This is going to be very, very tough. I don't know if they're going to go Trick Room or not just because I have a Torkoal, but I do think that their offensive mode is really good here. And I mean really good. How do I break through this? Jumpluff plus Torkoal maybe? I think it's probably Jumpluff plus Torkoal. The Sneasler makes this rough, but I should be able to play around it. And then in the back, this is where it's going to be tough. I think I want Typhlosion because Eruption will sweep them if I play it correctly. And you know what? I'm going to bring Cryogonal. And the reason I'm bringing Cryogonal is I should be able to outspeed the Sneasler, get an Icy Wind off, because the Sneaslers usually run Adamant with Psychic Seed, which means I should be able to go for Icy Wind Eruption, even with Tailwind, because normally Sneasler would outspeed with the Psychic Seed. But with that speed reduction, might be really crucial. We're going to see the offensive mode here of the Dragapult and the Male Indeedee, okay? Alright, Focus Sash on the Male Indeedee. I wouldn't be surprised if this is just Expanding Force right here. I am just going to go for a... I just want to go for a Tailwind. Yeah, I don't mind just going for the Tailwind and a Overheat into the Male Indeedee. If they go for Trick Room, so be it, but I don't know if they would go for Trick Room in this scenario. We will go for the Tailwind here. Let's see what they decide to go for. Going to be the Expanding Force. Oh, it's Scarf. Okay, good to confirm. And Dragon Darts? Okay, does this pick up a double knockout here? I'm okay if it does pick up a double knockout, but let's see. Because right now, Jumpluff actually survives. I do get Typhlosion in. Let me just double check the speed stat on Cryogonal if I'm not mistaken. Oh, wait, we speed tie Adamant Sneasler. Okay. That is if they're max speed, though. We'll bring out the Typhlosion. Now we can go for a very powerful Eruption. They do not have a swap on the Male Indeedee side. The Dragon Ball should go down here. So we can go for a Sleep Powder into... I guess we're just going to click Sleep Powder realistically and just Eruption. There really is no reason not to click this Eruption here. We know that the Male Indeedee is Scarf because it outsped the Dragapult, unless for some reason there's some very, very weird things going on with that Dragapult set. We will go for the Tera Fire, and I think we should be able to nuke both of these mons, and then it's going to be a 2v4 scenario. Sleep Powder into Dragapult, it doesn't really matter, I think, unless the Dragapult's for some reason Focus Sash on this team. Maybe it is. But Eruption will come out. Tera Fire in the sun, choice specs even, is going to double nuke the field. Perfect. Okay. Nice. That is a very nice double knockout. I don't know if I need the Tera Fire to knock out Dragapult, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. It also covered like every switch. Like I was just nuking anything that was coming in. The remainder of the game, because they gave me the Psychic Terrain, I don't have to worry about Sucker Punch. We're going to see Ursaluna come in, I think. Okay. And Porygon 2. I have a feeling that this game is just won here if I either A, knock out Porygon 2 in one shot, which is very possible. I think Leaf Storm and Eruption should KO the Porygon 2 unless it's Defensive Tera. Do I risk it being Defensive Tera, I guess? I think I just Sleep Powder the Porygon 2 and I Eruption in case it's for some reason Defensive Tera for Typhlosion. because otherwise I think Terrify Eruption in Sun should knock out Porygon 2, but Porygon 2 is a bulky Pokemon. We had a Sleep Powder, so we are going to be able to KO this Porygon 2 with that Eruption, and it just seals the game. So I guess not even necessary, Cryogonal. But you know what? Could have still been very useful depending on who was in the back, but this is going to be pretty good. Eruption going to be fired off into Porygon 2. We get a critical hit on top of that. That just shows how powerful Typhlosion is under the sun if you are able to get it into a very good position. And now we can just encore to Ursaluna and go for an Eruption, and yeah, there's nothing they can do. So yeah, they don't even have a win con, even if they stall out all my Eruption power points somehow with multiple protects, because the burn will be ticking them down to put them in range of my Cryogonal's freeze dry too on top of that. So yeah, Eruption gonna come out, just nuke the Ursaluna, and that is some fried bear. Very strong. It's just, can you position the Typhlosion? They really didn't respect the Typhlosion, especially because I guess they just didn't have a fire resist. What was their other than King Gambit? I can't remember what their last Pokemon was. Oh, it was like Sneasel and King Gambit, right? That they could have had in the back. Yeah, like only Dragapult, and Dragapult, it's a fire resist. It's not taking a Choice Specs, Terrifier, Eruption, and Sundown. And that's all I needed. All right, we have the Hisuian Electrode with Annihilate alongside our Caledon, Pelipper, Sneasler, and Female Entity. Very offensive team. Should be imprisoned on the Entity. All right, this is going to be scary. 100% scary. I could lead Jumpluff. Do I think that's worth it? This is probably Rage Fist Annihilate for the boost. All right. I'm going to lead Cryogonal plus Garchomp. I think it's a good lead into this team. If they lead the Electrode plus the Annihilate, I think it's a mind game, which I think is probably okay playing. And then I'm going to have Torkoal and Typhlosion in the back. Oh, this is going to be super risky. But yeah, the thing is, I can't counter all of the plays, right? They have the Psychic Seed on Burning Boost probably. They also have the Rain Mode and the... Probably, I assume it's Choice Scarf Annihilate with Loaded Dice Electrode. We've seen this combo in the past on Stadium Ladder, so wouldn't be surprised to see. I'm pretty sure that's what this is going to be. Our Caledon Electrode. Oh, they're going for the Bullet Seed combination into our Caledon. Interesting. You know what's funny? I could haze away the boost though. So do I care about it? Not really. I think I'm just going to go for a Icy Wind. I don't even care. Yeah, I don't think I really care too much. I think I'm just going to go for Icy Wind, and I'm going to go for Earthquake. Do I Icy Wind here, or do I Freeze Dry, actually? Because I'd rather get more damage. You know what? I'm going to Freeze Dry the Electrode, and I'm going to go for Earthquake. I got to watch out for Sneasler in the back, but it should be acceptable. Yeah, I'm going to Freeze Dry Earthquake. They do self-Bullet Seed, which is not too surprising. I could have went for the Haze, but the problem is I can't pick up the knockout on our Caledon in one hit. And I also don't care about it too much because I have Typhlosion. That's my main game plan for getting rid of the Caledon in the late game. So I need to get rid of Electrode, because if it's the big threat in the back of the... Well, it should be Pelipper in the back. Then I guess it's Annihilate as the last. If it's Annihilate, that should be fine. We get a Freeze Dry off into Electrode. We go for the Earthquake. I don't know if Icy Wind Earthquake would have KO'd the Electrode. It probably did, since I'm neutral against Electrode with Earthquake, so it might have been okay. But let's see who the target is with the Arcaladon gonna be. Body Press into Cryogonal, sure. Okay, I do not mind that. I do not mind that. I wonder if Arcaladon's in range of Stomping Tantrum if I haze away the boost, because this could be Pelipper coming in. They could protect to fear or switch out, fearing the Torkoal switch. Sneasler coming in. All right. I'm clicking Protect, and I'm clicking Earthquake, I think. Yeah, I'm just gonna protect Earthquake. Might as well just go on the offense, right? There really is not too much to say here. Actually, the Sneasler, if it's Psychic Seed, it should be Adamant, but then it's a speed tie. I always want to say my Tera. Yeah, I always want to say my Tera. It's just really gonna depend on the Sneasler. It should be Psychic Seed though. I don't think it's Unburden. Do they fake out? No, they throw chop. Nice. Nice. If I get rid of Sneasler, that's absolutely huge, by the way. Because if I get rid of Sneasler, unless you're Focus Sash, are you Focus Sash on your Sneasler? Then it becomes a bit annoying. Oh, you are Focus Sash. You're not actually Unburden. Okay. I mean, do I hate this position? Not really. Because our Cryogonal just took a bunch of damage with that combination. I can go out into my Typhlosion, I think. And I think Typhlosion's in a good spot. Like, especially if our Cryogonal's Assault Vest. Since it's not leftovers, it probably is Assault Vest. Cryogonal, I think, is slower than Sneasler, especially if it's Unburdened Sneasler. So I think the play here is just to switch on a Torkoal and Tera Fire Heat Wave, which should always knock out the Archalon. And because of the speed interactions, unless this is Adamant Sneasler with not either A, this is not max speed Adamant Sneasler minimum, and it needs to not have Unburden. So we'll go for the Tera Fire Heat Wave and switch to Torkoal. And that is always my play. Because Draw Chop won't KO me. If they close combat read my Typhlosion, then it's probably over. Then it's probably over. They need to close combat my Typhlosion. Which, depending on the Sneasler, does it KO or not, is also going to be a question. So, we'll see. Because if it's Jolly, I might be able to survive. Bring out the Torkoal. They go for the Tera with Sneasler? It has to be, right? I'm assuming this is Tera Dark Draw Chop. Yep. If they went for Tera Dark Draw Chop, I do survive because I do have the Tera Fire coming out. I hope and all I need to do is land the Heat Waves. All I have to do is land the Heat Waves. Because I think if I miss either one, I do lose. But I can't Eruption because of the damage I'm taking. I have to Heat Wave. They go for the Throat Chop. They should always be out into the Typhlosion. I guess I didn't have to switch Torkoal, but in case they tried to make a Pelipper play. But I do land the Heat Waves. I am going to be able to pick up the Knockout into the Archalon and the Sneasler. A critical hit into Archalon. I do not think that matters. That's Tera Fire into Sun with a Choice Specs while you are under 50%. I just don't think that was mattering. Sneasler goes down. They have a Pelipper in the back. The Pelipper can still technically win, but I think it's very unlikely. Because we saw this. Actually, no, the Sash was on. What's it called? Yeah, the Sash was on Sneasler's. Can't be on Pelipper. They need very, very big specifics coming out into me here, too. So I'm going to go for Overheat into the Pelipper, and I'm going to go for Heat Wave. They need to dodge the attacks and get Tailwind up. If they don't Tailwind, they lose. So Heat Wave, I do land, so that gives me better odds of winning this. Okay. Okay, they Weather Ball. I straight up win. Because Cryogonal can come in, click Freeze Dry into that Pelipper. Good game. Ooh, all right. Beautiful. Beautiful. So Cryogonal can come in, click the Freeze Dry into the Pelipper. Should secure that knockout alongside, I mean, they use their Tera on Sneasler, so I don't have to worry about too much. So beautiful. The only real combination I was worried about was Annihilate, because I can't haze away an Annihilate boost, right? But like, I had my most offensive tools being special attacks from the Typhlosion. And even if, like, let's say the thing is my physical attackers were my lead, and I had haze on the Cryogonal to reset the big damage from Archalon. So I really was not worried about the Archalon boosted up, especially since I was able to get some pretty big chip damage across the board immediately. Being Sash on the Sneasler ended up changing the game a lot, because it made it come down to like a mind game read potentially. Like, it could have been safer if I like went for an attack with Cryogonal as well, but or instead of switching out, but I just don't think it was ever worth the risk there. All right, let's go over the games. In game 1, just swept with the lead of Cryogonal and Garchomp, and my opponent couldn't do anything. In game 2, traded damage across the board, but they really disrespected my Hisui Typhlosion that just ended up being able to sweep after they ignored it for one turn. In game 3, Hayes Cryogonal was incredible at the start of the game, although getting the call wrong with the Annihilate Protect made things tricky. Luckily, I was able to get my Kingambit into a great position with a few good calls, and I was able to take back control to seal the win. In game 4, the Hisui Typhlosion sack turn 1 wasn't as great as I was hoping, since I failed to knock out the Incineroar. Maybe I laid a Kingambit and Torkoal, since I could have gotten the Defiant Boost to make up the difference. Otherwise, the Assurance double up into the Dewgong was doing a lot less than I imagined, so I might have needed to call a reposition into Gothitelle by them and catch that Gothitelle on that switch. In game 5, a great start, but the Garchomp on their side was still concerning. But the Earthquake Assurance double up with my Tera on Kingambit paid out in dividends, as the Golden Go did not have enough to take on my Typhlosion and Kingambit duo in the end. In game 6, felt I played an amazing start, but with some bad RNG with the Blizzard crit into the freeze on the Typhlosion towards the end, cooled down any chance of winning. Rock Slide in the Blizzard, depending on their investment, was a roll to knock out the Kingambit, and they needed to be max special attack with the choice specs to have any hope of the Rock Slide double up knocking out the Kingambit. In game 7, they just let me put Hisui Typhlosion in Sun under Tailwind, and then their team, well, let's just say if you heard from Bastille, or I believe that's how you pronounce the band's name, you could close your eyes. In game 8, luckily no Annihilate was the biggest concern for me, but had to play a mind game with the Sneasler and Typhlosion Tera, which I was able to get right and land the Heat Waves to win the game. Overall, I think Cryogonal is actually pretty good compared to Dragonite. I feel like the problem with Dragonite, again, unless your team doesn't have to rely on Tera as much, I feel like there's a lot of offense you're leaving on the board without tearing, like the Kingambit for the Garchomp combination, the Typhlosion as well with that Tera Fire, I think like is really strong. So having, again, a Pokemon that's just really solid without that Tera, we saw how well it was able to utilize his tools, the Haze to get rid of the bulk on the Annihilate, the Icy Wind, Speed Control, very, very big, and just Ice being a really good coverage with Fire as well, and Ground especially. Really good duo. If you would like to check out the details of the team and the recreation, they'll be down below in the description. If you would like to try out the team, there is a rental code on your screen. It is available for a very limited amount of time, so make sure you grab it while you can. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.